What's going on, Washington Commander Nation? It's your boy Rio back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel. I missed y'all. It's been a couple days. It is Tuesday, April 12th, and we are now 16 days from the start of the 2022 NFL Draft. Per usual, this team is always in the news, whether it be for good, bad, wrong, or indifferent. But today, I'm here to tell you that we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to do the first and only solo mock draft I'm going to do on the channel. I mess around with the mock draft simulators all the time, but we're going to mess around with the draft today, and we're going to do it from what I would do, because I got a war room coming up with my boys Tay and Todd, Jalen, Alex, Zach, the group chat gang. We're going to put our front office hat on, and we're going to do a full draft for the team based on what we think the team's going to do. But this one today is just going to be what I would do personally. So expect offense, expect fireworks, and expect offense when it comes to me. But before we get to the mock draft, as you can see, I have on my shirt jersey for Dwayne Haskins Jr. Over the weekend, we were all shaken up with the terrible and tragic news of our former quarterback, our former 15th overall pick, Dwayne Haskins Jr., passed away. He was hit by a dump truck crossing an interstate early Friday morning in Florida, and that shit absolutely shook me up. There's people out there who forget the human aspect of this life shit when we watch sports. When we watch sports, we treat these athletes like they aren't human beings. That man is a husband. That man is a son. That man is a 24-year-old black man, and he just lost his life at 24 years old while still fighting to live out his dream. Yes, you've heard me on this channel multiple times. I've called him Haskins. I've talked about what he did on and off the field here, but I would never wish harm on no man. And this is absolutely tragic. And there's literally no sides to pick when it comes to that. Someone dying is not up for you to debate whether he's an NFL bust or not. Adam Schefter, some of these guys out there, like, don't report on a death while simultaneously taking a shot of what he's accomplished in the league. Because whether he's been good or bad in the league, he made it there. He's talented, and he's a fucking human being who lost his life way too soon. And it's an absolute tragedy. So I'm sending my thoughts and prayers to the Haskins family, to all of his former teammates, friends, associates. Man, the DMV, we lost one of our own, and I had to come in like it was an '03 Nelly video with the shirt on backwards, man. We taking it back to the early 2000s. I had to pay homage and tribute to the guy, whether you liked him or not as a player or person. Dwayne loved life. He enjoyed life. He always had a smile on his face. He loved interacting with fans, and he loved living his best life. He loved buying things that made him happy. That dude enjoyed life while he was here, and he was just taken too soon. And words cannot explain how terribly tragic this is. So I'm going to just go ahead and send my RIP to Dwayne Haskins. Rest in paradise, my brother. You're gone way too soon. But today, we're going to get into a mock draft of what I think the Washington Commanders should do. We had news today also that Washington closed the deal with iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio. They're going to be the official partners in streaming broadcasts for the Washington games on Sunday. And now we see why 106.7 and 980 was so salty a couple weeks ago, because they're doing forward-thinking things. But, you know, in Washington, good news does not come without bad news attached to it. So although while they got to celebrate this new brand partnership, it immediately got reported after that there's even more investigations and a huge can of worms being opened on Daniel the Dweeb Snyder. And there are a lot of criminal allegations regarding skimming money from tickets. It is a mess. And from what it sounds like, I'm not sure Dan Snyder is enough to revolutionize criminal activity by himself. So this could be a thing that multiple teams and multiple owners are also in on. And the NFL has to be fucking shaking and quivering right now because this guy's getting a spotlight put on everybody right now. All the owners better be dotting all their I's and crossing their T's, especially if they're trying to be Marty Bird from Ozark and skimming money from ticket revenues and teams league-wide. That shit is a mess. We'll get into that at a later time, but let's do what we're here for. Let's mock draft. Let's make some picks, and let's get our boys ready to go for the 2022 season. I used the PFN mock draft simulator for this first mock draft. I'm not going to do any trades or anything like that, you know. I'm going to just keep it straight and narrow. I honestly don't think we're going to make a trade in the first round anyway. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes, you know. We're very conservative here. And also, it has to be there for you to take it. It takes two to tango. We're not sure that a trade will be even an option. Okay, so Aiden Hutchinson went first to Jacksonville. There's been talks that Trayvon Walker might get that top spot. He went 2 to Detroit. Thibodeau to Houston. I like what I'm seeing so far. Hamilton. Whoa, did Hamilton go top 10? Like I keep telling y'all he's going to go, man. Don't believe the media hype. That man ain't making it to pick 11. Wilson went to the Giants. They got Evan Neal. Ooh, the Falcons took Malik Willis. Sauce Gardner to the Seahawks. Jordan Davis, the defensive lineman out of – okay, and we're up now. I'm not going to make any trades in this mock, but I'll at least hear him out. Okay, so that's 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick, and a second next year. That's a very attractive offer, but I don't think we're in the business of trading down 22 spots. Like, we're not that good to be doing that, so I'm going to have to politely tell them no. That is a very enticing offer. Maybe if this is offered again when I hop back on the board for another mock draft, we can do that. But for right now, I'm going to say no. But back-to-back picks at the end of the first round, that is that piques my interest a lot. Now, let's see what we got on the board here. Charles Cross, great offensive tackle, not interested. Jermaine Johnson, great edge defender. I got 2 first-rounders that are supposed to be very, very good. Not interested. Jameson Williams is my wide receiver 1, but coming off an ACL tear with a new quarterback who has to produce immediately. Do I want to take that chance? I think he's definitely worth the risk. So right now, I'm looking at the board with Wilson already off the board. I'm looking between Jameson Williams, cornerback Derek Stingley, who is my cornerback 1 in the draft, and wide receiver Chris Olave. What are we going to do here at 11? I know conventional wisdom and a lot of the fan base is probably going to go Stingley, but we've spent far too much compensation early in the draft over the last few years on the defense for them to take a big step back last year. So I'm going to need them to get themselves right. I'm going to need William Jackson, Benjamin St-Juste, Kendall Fuller, and company to produce. We still got our eyes on a veteran like Joe Hayden. I'm going to look at cornerback later in the draft. I'm picking a wide receiver here. So are we going Drake London? We're going Jameson Williams, or we're going Chris Olave? I'm going with conventional wisdom here. I don't think they're going to take Jameson Williams coming off an ACL tear. I think the pick here is going to be Chris Olave, wide receiver, Ohio State, a shade under 6'1", a little bit under 200 pounds, route technician, speed demon, Terry McLaurin's mentoree at his time of Ohio State. We just paired him up. We got Terry a running mate. We have a wide receiving core now of Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Curtis Samuel in the slot, and Swiss Army knifing around the offense. De'Ami Brown hopefully being that vertical threat. Cam Sims being the big body receiver we need, and we'll see if it's another if it's a late draft pick, or there's someone like Dax Milne or someone fill out the receiver room. I don't think it's going to be Antonio Gandy Golden or Kelvin Harmon, but that's just me. Let's see what we're looking like right now. Matt Corral went to the Saints. Andrew Booth, Trey McDuffie to the Patriots. Nakobe Dean went to Dallas. Okay, so the Cowboys are pairing up Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox with Nakobe Dean. Drake London to the Bills. I like that. Pittsburgh is back. Okay, Pittsburgh traded back and took Kenny Pickett. So he goes from Pittsburgh to Pittsburgh. That's a great fit, seamless fit. And the Lions rounded out the first round by taking Sam Howell. So they got their quarterback of the future to sit behind Jared Goff in Detroit. And it'll probably be sooner than later when he gets on the field, because you got to get the rookie on the field at some point. Let's see. We're coming up at pick 47. What are we thinking for 47? I know what I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking is probably not what y'all are thinking. Y'all are like, oh, you went offense first round. You definitely got to go defense. No, sir. I'm thinking running back or tight end, depending on how this board fall. I know if Brees Hall or Kenneth Walker, one of them's going to be on the board. Okay, we got another trade back at a third next year in the 52nd. You know what? I told you I'm not trading in this draft. So, all right. So I have my choice right here of the two best running backs in the draft. I like Antonio Gibson. I don't think he's an every down feature back. I don't think he can take the punishment of it. And I don't think he yet displays the vision and innate abilities of an RB1. I think a running back by committee would be best for this team, with an RB1 like Brees Hall or Kenneth Walker paired with Antonio Gibson and JD McKissick doing all the dirty work out of the backfield, running routes and catching wheel routes up the field. I'm thinking those two. I'm considering linebacker Chad Muma because he's an absolute stud, bona fide Mike linebacker. But I took a linebacker 19 overall last year. I'm not taking it. I told you my goal, if I was running things, I'm not, probably gladly so, because I would probably run the team into the ground. I'm going offense, and I'm going to go Brees Hall, running back, Ohio State. So, Iowa State. Ohio State. We're so used to having Buckeyes here. So we just started the draft off so far by taking a wide receiver and a running back. And that's, for some of you, that's going to make your stomach turn. For me, it's not. Like, we just gave up draft compensation for a quarterback. Ron is in year 3, win now mode. Carson Wentz is in, I need to save my career as a starting quarterback in this league mode. Our offense doesn't get it done. I'm tired of scoring under 20 points in a game. I'm tired of going to the opposing team's red zone 100 times in a game and ending the game with 13 points. I don't want any parts of that. And I'm not pigeonholing myself to a certain side of the ball. That's what I thought the best decision was at that point of the draft. And let's move on. We don't pick again until the 4th round because we gave up our 3rd rounder for a quarterback. I don't look at it so much that we gave up or we lack a 3rd round pick. We acquired a starting quarterback with that 3rd round pick. And yes, it did add another pick for next year that's probably going to end up being a 2nd, because I see Carson starting all 17 games for us this year. But hey, we got us a starting quarterback, a co-wide receiver 1, an RB1. What are we thinking in the 4th round? Let's see how that board falls. Now is when I'll start looking at linebackers and cornerbacks. I still got my eyes on some tight ends as well. If a Jelani Woods out of UVA, 6'7", monstrous size, 4'6", 40 guy. Oh, my guy McBride just went off the board to the Chargers. But I'm not drafting a quarterback unless it's like 6th or 7th round. So if you're expecting me to put a quarterback on that roster, no, sir. This is the Carson Wentz show now. And Dwayne Haskins, sorry. Taylor Heineke is backing him up. I don't want to have to see Taylor Heineke take a snap unless it's in garbage time because we're blowing someone out or we're getting blown out. Hopefully not the latter of the two of those, but yeah, man. Leo Chanel is still on the board. That is someone I'm hoping stays on the board. He won't be probably when we get on the board again because like Chad Muma, that's another green dot, call the defense, born to play. If you look at this guy definitely came out the womb, born to play Mike linebacker for someone's football team. We don't pick again to, I believe, like 113. So this is, at this point, we wait. You know, Verone McKinley to the Eagles, that's a good pick. The guy out of Oregon, he's nice. Calvin Austin, Speed Demon out of Memphis. I like what we've done so far. And we don't have many picks this year, so we need to hit on them. Our 1st, 2nd, and 4th round picks need to all be immediate contributors. Like, we're not drafting for depth in our first 3 picks when we only have 5 or 6 picks in the entire draft. So we're going for it. We're building around the offense, and we're giving Carson Wentz no reason to fail here in DC. So let's see how the board is going to shake out for the next pick. I'm gonna start scrolling down and looking at who I'm thinking for this next one. Ramon Clark has an injury. If it wasn't for that, that'd be someone I'd consider. Darian Beavers, linebacker out of Cincinnati, one of the only 2 pro days that Ron Rivera attended this year was the Cincinnati one, and he was spending a lot of time conversing with Darian Beavers. I mean, Ron's going to obviously gravitate towards linebackers when it comes to scouting and stuff like that, because he was a linebacker himself. Jack Del Rio too. That's why it's a little befuddling that they haven't found their linebacker yet. Like, we got Cole Holcomb straight. They didn't pick him though, but it's a little. That's where we're going with the next pick. I'm gonna tell you right now, Darian Beavers. There we go. So that linebacker that everybody's been clamoring for, boom, you get him at pick 113. You get your linebacker to go with an RB1 and a receiver in the first round. From here on out, we're talking. We don't have a fifth, so we're talking 6th and 7th round. I'm gonna keep it 100,000 with you. I'm gonna pick a player if I knew who they are at this point, because I'm not even going to pretend like I'm some draft pundit, Mike Mayock, McShay, Kuiper, Matt Miller guru that can sit down and break down every player selected in the draft. So most likely, I'm not going to know who I'm selecting with these next couple picks. But if there's a familiar name that fits a position of need, that's what I'm going with. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm not going to sit here and play with y'all like, hey, I'm taking this guy here because I've crunched the tape on him, man. He does this. He has lateral agility. Bro, we in the 6th round of the draft, man. We're in the 6th round of the draft. At this point, I'm just enjoying seeing tape of these guys for the first time. I'm sitting back watching the draft. I'm interested in what their stories are, why they lasted this long, why didn't they go higher and stuff like that. But I'm thinking secondary. We hit on late picks. Look, we hit on Cam Curl in the 7th round. So a secondary piece, a corner, a safety, that'd be something I'd take a look at. A tight end would be something I'd look at. Maybe a depth piece on the interior D-line with the losses of Matt Ioannidis and Tim Settle Jr. So let's see. All right, man, we got to speed this draft up, bro. I should have put that shit on fast. I put that joint on normal, and we watching the draft in real time. We watching the feed on ESPN at the moment. But yeah, man, I like what we've done so far. Like, I'm not even going to hold you. I like what we've done with this draft so far. I got 2 offensive pieces and a linebacker. 3 players that will probably play a lot immediately. My guy Chigo Okonkwo, tight end out of Maryland, move guy, very athletic. Type of tight end you could put in a system where you can throw him bubble screens and jets and have him run jet sweeps. Tyquan Thornton, the guy who at first looked like he had the fastest 40 time in the history of the combine, still on the board. You know, a lot of people are crying that we lost DeAndre Carter. I really feel like through the draft or undrafted free agency, we can really just pick up someone who can give us what he gave us last year. And yes, I appreciate what he gave us last year, which was more than what he needed to. But I'm going to keep it a buck. That drop versus Dallas, like, he lost me at that point. Like, he is definitely replaceable. Oh, he gave us such great return skills. What did he do before that in his career? That last year was more of an outlier of his career. This is not something he's consistently done, meaning it's not something that's promised to happen again. And with the history of those type of players, it most likely isn't going to happen again. But shout out to him. He signed with the Chargers. I wish him the best. You're out there with Justin Herbert on a AFC contender-esque team. I'll say contender-esque because I won't call him a contender yet, but they got the quarterback, they got the defense, they got the weapons, but they're in the division and conference of death, so who knows how far they'll actually go. And we are now on to the 6th round of the draft. We have 3 selections left in this draft. Let's see what this board's looking like. We're not taking another running back. This is when we start talking depth, because we don't need a specialist because we just re-up with Joey Sly on a 2-year deal. The DMV boy stays home, you know. We have us a kicker. He still hasn't missed as a Washington kicker yet, unless you want to count him missing a tackle when he pulled his hamstring when the kick got blocked. Don't ever do that again. Kickers, you don't need to ever try to make tackles, bro. Stay in your lane. Let me see. What we thinking here? Caltera, tight end out of SMU. I think I've said if they are Munford, we can get us some guard depth because we don't know how formidable our guards are going to be. I know Micah McFadden. Let me see what we got on the board here. We can go corner. You know what? We're going to go guard here because Sadiq Charles, I don't even see him playing into the picture as a guard here. We got Andrew Norwell and Wes Schweitzer rounding out the starting unit. Let's throw an Ohio State boy in the mix. Good program. I trust the program. From everything I've heard with his name involved, he's dumb raw. That would be why he's on the board at 189. Maybe we'll strike gold with a late pick like we did when we hit on Chase Rouillet. I don't know too much about the player, so I ain't gonna give you too much on that. I'm not even gonna hold you. So let's see how this one plays out. Like I said, I'm gonna give you one with trades and one without trades. And this is my without trades mock draft. We're almost at its conclusion right now. I like what I've seen. I like what we've been able to acquire thus far. Let's see when we are on the board again. We are on the board again, and we are not on the board again. Our draft is done. Okay, I'm going to give you a full roundup and recap of what we did in this draft in just a second when this jump plays out. Oh, no, we're back on the board again in the 7th round. I'm wilding. I think we have 2 picks in the 7th round. We got 230, and you know what? We're just going to have to – where are we at? We had 230, and – like 240 and 230 and 240 to close the draft out. I'm definitely going to take a secondary player here, and I'll probably take another receiver at this point. I know we only drafted one defensive player so far, so I'm not going to draft one just to say I drafted a defensive player, but this is when you find possible diamond in the roughs, camp bodies to add some competition and stuff like that. So we're on to the 7th and final round of my first and only single mock draft of the draft season, bro. We're 16 days away, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to have conversations, arguments, debate. Oh my God, we messed up here. Who won the draft? Who lost the draft? Which is absolutely irrational and blasphemous conversation because you didn't win shit on draft night. You know how many teams I've seen us get A+ draft grades, and those draft classes were absolute ass juice. So let's not react to, you know what, defensive tackle from LSU, come on down. No idea who you are, but we can use the depth at the position. And I think I might finish the draft with like Jack Cohn out of Notre Dame. He's a quarterback I know. Throw him at the edge. He could be new Garrett Gilbert, sit at the end of the right. New Nate Sudfeld, practice squad man who, in case of emergency, I was going to say COVID, but I mean, COVID don't exist in the NFL no more. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close the draft out and say quarterback from Notre Dame, Jack Cohn, who impresses me in no way possible and who I never see. Oh, speaking of quarterbacks who will never succeed in the league, dude, we had Steven Montez, Spanish Jesus. Those guys that told me that he's gonna have. We were gonna rue the day that we let him walk out the door. Please come see me because that guy is never gonna be a factor in this league, bro. He will be lucky to ever start 2 games in this league, and I feel very, very confident in saying that. So I like what we've done, especially early. I think we got at least 3 minimum immediate impact players on the roster in Beavers, Breece Hall, and Chris Olave. We got some depth pieces on the line, both sides, interior, at tackle and guard. And we got us an emergency. We got us a camp body quarterback, this year's Jordan Tiamu, So I like what we've done with this class. I'm going to pull up the entire class in just a second. This is what our class looks like. Olave, Breece, Beavers, Thayer Mumford. We love those Buckeyes. Like if we're in the conversation for quarterback next year, I hope we're not, knock on wood. Hopefully Carson Wentz takes this job, runs with it, and we'll never have to look for a quarterback in the immediate or foreseeable future. We'll see though. The jury's out on that. We got depth on both sides of the interior. We got an emergency quarterback and 3 impact players. I'm cool with this draft. I know a lot of people are going to hate this draft. I am totally fine with this draft. Now let's see what this draft looks like if we do some trades. Let's run us back one. And we're going to put it on fast this time because I don't feel like going through that wait ever again. Like, we're not watching the draft in real time right now. Let's see what that board looks like when we get to 11. Kyle went second this time. Woo. All right, so trade back 1 pick and a third next. Nah, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it for me. I need picks right now. Definitely not. That is very interesting. Trading back 32 spots. Has someone ever traded back 32 spots in the top 15 before? I don't think I ever recall that. But we would have 2 picks in the second, 2 picks in the third, and a second rounder next year. I don't think I can move back that far. Please put another offer on the table. No offer on the table. All right, so we're going to have to stick and pick here. This time, I'm going to go with the other person who I would have picked if I didn't go receiver the first time. We're going cornerback 1, Derek Stingley Jr. He's walking in the door. He's starting cornerback 1 on this roster immediately. We need a pick in the 3rd round, so let's I'm gonna accept it. Give it to me. We're moving back 13 spots, and we added a 3rd round pick. All right. Nope, I'm not ready to move. Who's on the board? Who's on the board? We need a receiver, dude. Nah, I'm going to reject this one. Move back night. Nope, we don't want nothing in 2023. We need a receiver. I'm looking at John Mechie. I'm not picking Carson Strong. I'm not picking Chad Muma. We need us a receiver, my guy. Let's go ahead and just Yep, we're going John Mechie. That's someone we have interest in as well. Alabama receiver. He's one of those guys that's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I'll take this. Go back 2 spots, get a 5th next year. And no, you know what? I don't want this. I'm not interested. Now we go Mike linebacker, Leo Chenal. I know this is what a lot of people are dreaming of for our draft situation. So we went and got a cornerback 1 and a Mike in our first 3 picks. And we're back on the board again. I want a tight end here. Let's see what's on the board right now. Calvin Austin, speed receiver. I'm not going to go back-to-back rounds receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson, slot demon out of Kentucky. Let's see what we got on the board. Leon O'Neal Jr. out of Texas A&M. That's someone I'm interested in. Zion McCullum. That's a guy I'm interested in. I believe he can return stuff. There we go. I see the pick. Right now, we're going tight end. Big 6'7", athletic freak, skyscraper of a man, Jelani Woods out of UVA. This is a more well-rounded draft than the first one. It was like we ended up making some trades, and we went corner round 1. I'm not sure any of the corners or Hamilton make it out the top 10, but I would totally understand taking Derek Stingley or Kyle Hamilton at 11, even though I'm like hard-pressed to take a receiver. Let's see what we got on the board now. Jalen Watermeyer. That's a guy we've actually had on a couple visits so far. What y'all want? Y'all want Brock Purdy out of Iowa State? Because I do not. There's my Fayetteville State. Let's see. You know what? Let's take a corner here. We're going to take Joshua Williams out of Fayetteville State. Let me look at his measurable. 6'2", lengthy corner. Give it to me. I don't need to see anything else. I have no idea who the guy is. We're taking another corner. Maybe he can play safety. Who knows? But at this point in the draft, you're playing with fool's gold, and you're just hoping to hit on something. You're throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks. And from here, we got 1 more pick left in the draft, and we're going to go. Let's see. I think we should take a safety. You know what? Let's add to our edge depth. Let's take Zach Van Valkenburg, edge rusher, to be the opposite. To put him in a room with Shaka Toney, James Smith-Williams, Bradley King, who's going to be kicking inside, Efe Obada, and the two bookends, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And we're going to finish the draft out by taking, I want a running back here. I want to close the draft out with a running back. And let's see what's on the board. Only running back here that I know is Ty Chandler out of North Carolina. You are the pick, sir. And that completes Washington's mock draft. So in this one, we got Stingley, Mechie, Leo Chenal, Jelani Woods. That is 4 picks that people should be very familiar with. These are players that can immediately come in and make an impact here. And they have name value. People know who they are compared to the 3. I think I'd still favor my first draft, but I would not hate a draft like this. And that's gonna do it for my mock draft episode, man. Like I just wanted to mess around with the mock draft simulator just to get the feel for it, because me and the boys got some stuff coming. Me and Jalen are gonna do a full first round mock where we alternate picks. I'm doing the odds, he's doing the evens, and doing all 32 picks in the first round. And our War Room special, that shit's gonna be lit, man. We're playing Ron Rivera, Eric Stokes, Jack Del Rio, Scott Turner, Chris Poley, and Marty Herney. We're playing characters, and we're going to argue, deliberate, and debate with time on the clock, 10 minutes per pick. See if we can come to a consensus to turn that card in and get our Sonny Weaver Jr. draft day on. But that's going to do for right now. Once again, rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins and condolences to the family. Keep repping the Washington Commanders, y'all. Bleed burgundy and gold until the death of you. Take command and salute. And don't be bothered that there's going to be different content coming on the channel, man. It's a Commanders first channel, always and forever. But I have other interests, and they will be represented in drones on this channel going forward. Deuces.